So everyone has a comfort game that they can just turn on, brain rot and lose themselves into. But what if your comfort game could suddenly turn on you when you least expect it? I've actually played a lot of horror games, and it's even a favorite movie genre of mine, so you would think like, okay, well, this guy's got at least some sort of tolerance built up to this stuff. But I borderline got an anxiety attack, and this whole experience was not entirely only my fault, but it wasn't even a horror game that did it. I want to tell you a goofy little tale about a game called Proteus. So look, for this story, read between the lines so I'm not outright saying like, hey, I'm smoking huh? You remember Zaza? It's so not a serious story. Oh geez. Food fight. I'm just gonna give you a heads up if this kind of stuff bugs you. Anywho, Proteus is one of those walking simulators, as the Redditors call them. I got this basically for free. Back in the day, it was really popular to do these things called Humble Bundles, where it's like a collection of games. You pay whatever you want for them, and the money goes basically entirely to either the devs or the charities that they're raising money for, which I always thought was super nice of the developers. I think it helped people get into a lot of games that maybe they wouldn't have bothered getting into. But like, Proteus isn't a game where you like win or advance in a traditional way. Every time you boot up the game, you start off on this island, and this island will procedurally randomly generate every time you boot it up in a different layout. So it's a very sensory like simulation, I would say. Like before TikTok gave us slime ASMR and demolished every online algorithm, us old timers would sit in front of the TV or the computer or whatever, and we would get the good stuff right there. So like I said, it's a very psychedelic walk on an island, and you go through nature. Everything's constantly changing color throughout the day because there's like a day-night cycle. Every little bit of scenery is making some kind of noise. There's this soft synth soundtrack, and it just honestly makes everything feel somehow both organic, but also like it's kind of intentionally designed at the same time. Like if Mother Nature were composed out of synthesizers and pixels, consider this a spiritual successor to Plantasia by Mort Garson. Just plugging one of my favorite records. If you've ever played LST Simulator, which I think normies would be surprised is a real game title from about 30 years ago, it kind of has like the same approach. You can like touch objects or visit a location, and then like some nonsense will happen in the game. You'll approach some chickens and just crash out and dip, and you can approach other landmarks over the island and stuff, and suddenly the stars in the sky start to shift around, and like it fast forwards to the morning. I would consider this, I think, like my first artsy game, I guess. There's no objective beyond vibes. There's footage of it on the internet, but I think it just doesn't really do it justice. The fact that the game will automatically progress the game by exploring just to show you more of its world, I think is a really unique take. You don't get that from many games even today. But when you are in the player seat versus watching it, I just think it does hit in a very different way. You'll be walking through the game and you'll see this like mass of clouds that just spills out all over a mountain range, and you can walk through that. Or suddenly you'll hear the soundtrack and stuff, and like the synthesizers will just start to swell up, and you'll see again like nighttime immediately comes out of nowhere after the sky starts like swirling and stuff. There's, I think, like the gaming version of when you see like a nice sunset in the summer, or when you're up early enough that you can enjoy the fog of the morning and you feel the moisture on your skin from just walking around. I don't think it's everyone's cup of tea, but as a teenager, I think it's definitely a game that really stuck with me. So, I didn't partake in any of the green when I was in my teens, but my first few experiences, naturally, of course, I was like, yo, let's go play some games, big dog. Hours and hours of Minecraft, Terraria, yeah, I was that guy. But eventually, I think I wanted to try some stuff that was just more unconventional, like the gaming version of like hitting a pen, and then you go with your friends walking into a theater to watch an Eraserhead screening, and you're just sitting into the theater recliner like, fuck. I guess I wanted more of those experiences. So one of the earliest light bulbs for me was just like, hey, let's Sesh and Proteus, toss on some headphones in a dark room. I gotta admit, though, it's really transformed the experience for me. I was really just like able to just commit to just the immersion of it. I let myself go completely into letting the game just do its job. Whatever my curiosity piqued, I'd go and follow it, and I would just watch the island evolve. It was just a very peaceful, colorful, it's like taking a virtual quiet walk through a natural park, I think. Once I had enough of chasing the dragon, so to speak, I was just like, all right, let's get a ingestible involved here and blast off to the moon. I literally had no idea how measurements worked for ingestibles, so I decided, cool, you know what, man, it's my day off. You know, the sun outside should start to set soon. Let's just, we'll make some dinner, load up some Proteus, and I'll eat an entire marigold brownie package. I live in California, and the law at that time still did not allow this stuff to be sold. So it was honestly just the complete Wild West out there when it comes to like buying this kind of stuff. So, whatever I took had even less strict standards than they do now. But I do vividly remember I sat down, I chopped up a bunch of ingredients for dinner. I set up a nice flask of water, cleaned up my room so it felt fresh. And I was like, well, hey, this hasn't really kicked in yet, really? Okay, well, I guess a little something is happening. I feel a little warm, a little fuzzy. Maybe let's just see what happens. Let's boot up Proteus. So of course, there in the dark, feeling a little fuzzy inside. It's definitely a different experience this time. All of a sudden, it feels like my vision, it starts to get one of these like those Instagram vignettes when you're trying to edit the colors of your like sexy selfie you're gonna post. Like I started to see the corners of my vision darken, and my body was starting to feel like it was at the very top of the roller coaster ride. Like, dog, we are about to drop at the D-Day. I was frightened. I thought I was all like, oh, I'm Mr. Badass experienced, but clearly I was here just like squinting like I needed help. Honestly, to get up and move too, it was pure mathematics. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to deal with dinner later. I can't move. So logically I was like, well, I guess I'll just keep playing some more Proteus. But by pure coincidence, I swear, it felt like the game knew like something was different. Like it really lived the experience of like, guess what? You're gonna get a different experience every time you play this. Proteus decided, hey buddy, here's something cool that you have never seen before. Your average scene, let me put it this way, in this game is just very serene. It's just, hopefully you see from the footage, it's just nice color palettes meshing, these harmonious synthesizer sounds fluttering, all these little virtual creatures or outlines of creatures chirping. There's no risk. There's no way to have your character die, or suffer any consequences. So when the game just suddenly turns the sky blood red and the environment all around me turned like this scary pitch black color with like this freaky as hell drone just like blaring into my headphones, I swear it was like I just walked into someone's bad trip, basically. I was the one having a bad trip. Man, here I was now, because now it's dark. I was sitting here in the dark now because hours had passed by in the outside, in the real world, IRL. And I was watching just like the once beautiful stars in this game all of a sudden just started boiling in the red night. I honestly, to this day, still don't know what causes this event in Proteus to happen. I'm hoping I could even get footage of it. I just know that at that time, my heart was just pounding. I was just like, yo, this is too much. I shut it completely down, and I just composed myself for a little bit, while the room was just spinning around me. If you've been through that experience without Proteus, I'm sure you know what it's about. Honestly, I thought at that exact moment, I was just like, well, I think I'm actually about to die. This is surely a meal will fix all of my problems, So I put in all the effort I've ever put in my whole life to get up. I was like in the kitchen cooking dinner. I had put, I think, like sliced mushrooms or something like that into a pan on low heat. And then stuff just started kind of spinning some more. And things get a little bit hazy after that. Next thing I know, I'm awake on my bed at 2 a.m, still blitzed out of my mind. And thankfully, my dad was the responsible adult who cleaned up my mess in the kitchen. And I genuinely think I have not played Proteus since that day. That was like a decade ago. I don't think I've touched it since. So fellas, what's the moral of the story? Well, go play Proteus. I really recommend it. Cool game. Don't eat brownies before making dinner. Yes, that's a good one right there. Okay. Anywho, I think the last time I did anything like this, I played a game called Iron Lung, which is actually a horror game, not meant to be cute. I tried to drink my way into being brave about it, but I think since I have a fear of the deep ocean, I was just quaking in my boots through the whole game pretty much. And then especially once I got to see the actual ending, which I won't spoil for you, I think I actually, I pooped where I was sitting. Overall though, I guess I'll end my video, my little story with this. It's just like why I really like games, because it's just a really unique experience that you don't get 100% from anything else. Each time you play a game, there's always going to be a different experience Like, you know, even though it's sometimes small differences, it's unique enough from your own personal involvement with the game that it differs enough from like a movie or an album. Not that those can't have a different experience every time, you know, maybe I'll find a better way to word it one day. So I hope you enjoyed my little story time, a little bit of a different video. We're here in like the Shadow Realm this time. It was more convenient this time to not film in the car. I know everyone likes the back of the Uber, but I hope it was entertaining. I'll try to do a little bit more of these like story time type of videos. Really, at the end of the day, it was just to encourage you to give games that maybe you gave a shot before that were a little bit weird, but you didn't quite feel it at the time, and maybe now you're more prepared for it. If you have recommendations for some more strange games like that I want me to check out, I'm certainly down. Leave a comment down below. Otherwise, you're welcome to like the video, come join, we'll talk about more games. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'll try to be in the backseat of the Uber next time. Other than that, play Proteus. Cool game. Edible out of 10. The end.